Okay, so this is the wild story of Adelphia Communications. It's a company that just skyrocketed to the top, only to come crashing down in one of the most unbelievable corporate scandals you've ever heard of. Seriously, it's a story all about greed, power, and one family that decided a massive public company was basically their own personal piggy bank.
Let's just start with a number. A huge one. $2.3 billion. Just take a second and let that sink in. This single figure, right here, is the absolute heart of the Adelphia scandal.
So what is that $2.3 billion? Well, that's the amount the founding family, the Rigas family, secretly siphoned from their own company. This wasn't some hacker from the outside. This was an inside job, a total heist, run by the very people who were supposed to be protecting the business.
And what did they buy with all that cash? Oh, the list is just staggering. We're talking a $13 million private golf course, a personal fleet of private jets, luxury apartments in New York City, huge swaths of timberland. They even gave out $6 million in stock bonuses to family members who didn't even work there.
All of this brings us to the biggest question of all. How in the world did one family manage to pull this off? How do you turn a massive, publicly traded corporation into your own private ATM right under everyone's noses for years? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go back to the beginning.
See, before the scandal, there was the empire. The Rigas family, they didn't just stumble into this. They built a seriously impressive business from the ground up.
It all started way back in 1952. Adelphia was just a small local cable company. But as the cable industry exploded, they grew and grew, buying up other companies like there was no tomorrow. By the late 90s, they were a powerhouse, one of the top 5 cable providers in the entire country. And here's the crucial part. From day one, this was a family-run show. The Rigas family kept an iron grip on everything.
And it was that absolute family control that let them build what was basically a secret family piggy bank. They used a few clever and very illegal financial tricks to hide what they were doing.
Their number one tool for this fraud was something called commingling of funds. It sounds complicated, right? But the idea behind it is dangerously simple. You just completely blur the line between the company's money and your personal money. All of a sudden, the corporate bank account is your bank account.
And this analogy just nails it. The Rigas family saw no difference. They treated Adelphia's massive corporate bank accounts like their own personal unlimited ATM. You need cash for a new jet? No problem. Just pull it from the company. It was truly that blatant.
But commingling funds was just where they started. Oh yeah, their little fraud toolkit had a lot more in it. They took out billions in loans in the company's name for personal stuff and just hid them. They moved huge company debts off the official books to make Adelphia look way more profitable than it was. They even straight up lied about how many subscribers they had to trick banks into giving them even more money.
But you know how these things go. Any scheme built on lies, this massive house of cards, it was always going to collapse. And boy, when it did, it came down fast.
The whole thing unraveled in just a few short months in 2002. In March, a tiny footnote in a financial report revealed the truth. Billions in hidden family loans. By May, the family was out, forced to resign. In June, the entire company filed for bankruptcy, and by July, the patriarch, John Rigas, and his sons were arrested. The downfall was just swift and total. For the shareholders, the regular people who invested their money in this company, it was an absolute catastrophe. The stock was trading around $20 a share at the beginning of the year. Within months, it was worthless. Billions of dollars in wealth just gone. Poof. But for their crimes, the family did face justice. The legal system caught up, and key members of the Rigas family were sentenced to up to 20 years in federal prison, a pretty dramatic end to their corporate empire.
But the story doesn't end with a prison sentence. The fallout from this scandal, the shockwaves it sent, it actually changed corporate America forever.
What's pretty amazing is that this fraud was so audacious, it helped push Congress to act. Adelphia was a key reason we have the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, or SOX. Before SOX, corporate governance could be a bit of a free-for-all. This law put a stop to that, creating much stricter rules for accounting, transparency, and forcing companies to disclose exactly these kinds of insider deals.
And it's important to remember, Adelphia wasn't happening in a vacuum. It was part of this whole era of massive corporate scandals like HealthSouth. But where the HealthSouth fraud was about a CEO trying to make the company look better by inflating earnings, Adelphia was different. It was uniquely a family-run operation, all about using the company to fund a crazy lifestyle and hide their personal debts.
And all that brings us to our final question.
The Sarbanes-Oxley Act was created because of scandals just like Adelphia. But here we are, decades later. In the super high-stakes world of media and telecom, where fortunes are made and lost overnight, you have to wonder, was it enough? Or is there another secret family piggy bank out there just waiting to be discovered?